Okay, wow. I'm not going to belabor this. I'm just going to bring out the Tracy Lehman and French Stewart again. And I told French, it's good that I knew he's really a good man, because after I saw this movie, I was mad at him. French Stewart and Tracy Lehman, come out, please. You get your thumbs.
Oh my gosh.
It's our tradition at Ebertfest to give thumbs to our filmmakers.
Wow. Tracy Lehman likes it.
Oh
my gosh, thank you. This is
so
beautiful.
lovely, thank you. Normally my thumb is someplace else. It's a nice change up. Thank you.
So you two take a seat, and then we have a special thumb for someone who was a producer on this project, but is no longer with us. But his wife is. Dale and Rose Holdren, and we have Rose Holdren here, please.
I am so embarrassed, but Tracy's like a daughter to us. She taught both of our girls, who are now 30 and 33, film when they were little at Stanford at a film camp. And we met her at the Catalina Film Festival years later and adopted her immediately. So anyway, Dale and I are not in the film industry. He was an eye surgeon, and I'm a retired dentist. But we aligned with her and just said, well, can we help you with this financially? And we were like, yeah. So we helped where we could, and we had the privilege of being there when she was filming it in Louisville, Kentucky, which was a fabulous place to film. Anyway, and my husband, we went to Walmart and bought all sorts of old people paraphernalia. And she gave my husband the walker and said, hey, Dale, I want you to use the walker. And a week later we get home and he gets diagnosed with ALS. So it was kind of comical. We both have a sense of humor about it, but he just recently passed. But he would have been so proud of you. This movie was so special to us.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much.
Come over. Well, I'm going to let you present the thumb to Dale, to Rose.
Yes. It's heavier than you think. I don't want to drop it. I just want to say, the whole run of the movie, we've been doing this in the photos for Likes It. The whole entire time. I can't even tell you. You couldn't have written this, And the movie has just more meaning and more meaning with every audience, every screening, and as we keep going, So Chaz and Nate and everybody, thank you so much for having us. It's just so incredible.
Thank you.
Rose, thank you. You are a chosen family. I love you. Thank you. Thanks.
And now we're going to bring out on stage, I think moderating this discussion is Robert Daniels and Matt Zollerseitz. Robert Daniels. Matt.
You okay here? You want to be done? We're all mixed up. Yeah.
Well, I want to start with.
Oh, wait. Do you have all the mics?
Yeah, we got. I want to start with. I saw this movie when it premiered at South by Southwest, and this maybe sound weird, but I don't read press kits unless I want to know who played that person or something like that. So I didn't know the story behind it, and I wondered if you would tell it here.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So My dad, which inspired the character that French Stewart so wonderfully played. My dad would disappear sometimes when he'd get angry, and that was great for a developing young person, as you can probably imagine. So I was a people pleaser and a fixer, and I would always try to call him and email him, like, how can I fix it, every time he'd get angry. And one of these times he wasn't calling me back, wasn't emailing me back, and he had mentioned that he had been dating on Facebook. So I thought, okay, I'll put his name into Facebook. Maybe he must be on Facebook then. And I put his name in and accidentally friended another Bob Lehman. I woke up to Bob Lehman Likes It, And I remember like, all right, my dad likes something mine. It's okay, we're back, And then we were friends now, so I could see the photos and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's not him. But it felt good, and this person seems nice. I'm just gonna stay Facebook friends with him, And for 9 years, not a couple months like the movie. I mean, a lot of change and a lot of positive impact happened in just a couple months with this friendship, but the actual friendship was 9 years. And just an example, in that 9 years, every year I got, Bob Lehman says happy birthday, every single year. But my dad never said happy birthday any of those years. So, it was just, I had to tell this story because you don't know what someone's going through, and how a little act of kindness can completely change someone's life. And I really literally wouldn't be here without a stranger from the internet being kind to me. So yeah, when he passed away, I realized I had never fully told him what he meant to me. And they lived in Wichita, Kansas, and I wrote his wife, who had also been really nice to me, his widow, and said, which is not Rose, so this is just so many levels, like I said, I wrote his widow, Terry, and said, I never told him what he meant to me, so now I'm going to tell everybody. And so that's why I made this movie. Yeah.
I have a quick question about the title of the film, because this is, as you just talked about, is based on your life, but not totally on your life. And when I was watching the film, I noticed in the credits there's someone named Bob Trevino. And I'm wondering, what's the story behind that?
Yeah, I love this question so much because my dad was alive when I was writing it, and I was like, oh, he's gonna sue me, if I use this, he really would. I mean, your character would, and so I was like, but I thought I can't just make up a name, what's in a name, right? It has to really mean something to me. And it was another Bob that had also been really kind to me. I'm from Texas, and on my first movie set, I was so depressed because everybody was kind of mean to each other on set, and I thought, oh no, what have I gotten myself into? And this one special effects guy, Bob Trevino, kept coming, are you okay? like, no, I'm not really, but anyway. And he and his wife had been friendly to me and really kind to me during some dark times for a lot of years, and so I thought, he has the right heart. And so I called him up and I said, Bob, I have a really weird question. Do you mind if I use your name for this movie? Because then I could write something really great.
But the great thing is that now we're all Facebook friends with Ed. And anytime he likes anything, it's like this tiny little thrill.
Yeah.
It's so great. Yeah, he'll wish you a happy birthday, and you're like, oh.
I'm loved.
It's really wonderful, though, just to see this. You were in the audience for the previous film, right? The documentary. What perfect programming to have this follow that, because it is, one of the famous quotes that Roger is known for is that movies are a machine that generate empathy, and this movie is that also. And this is the second time I've seen it, and it's even better. Knowing the story makes it even more powerful, I think. And it's very direct. It's very, not fussy, like you go right at it. And I wondered, what were some of the inspirations? What were some of the things you were trying to keep in mind?
I really wanted people to identify with Lily, and I didn't. I was diagnosed with CPTSD in 2018, and it's different than PTSD because it's like when something happens over and over and you think you're never going to get out of it. So a lot of people that are, if you grow up in a really difficult home, that can happen, or war zones or things like that. So I really wanted people to empathize with people that have anxiety and that go through these kind of things, that have had parental abandonment. And but she's not a doormat, she's a survivor. You know, if you go through that and you get through it, you're a hero, you know? And a lot of people look at characters like that and they think, oh, they're weak or this or that. And so the important thing for me was that I put the audience in her shoes. You know, so I would use the lenses, and there was a lot of sound design. I'm not quite sure. I hope you could hear it. But where we're really in her world, like the sound does some strange things in those close-ups with the lenses. And the reason I have the car almost hit her before she has the panic attack is because I heard y'all go, you know, when the car hit her. Well, now your nervous system is like hers, you know. So you're not going to judge her for having that monologue where she's panicking, because you're feeling it too, you know. So there were just a lot of decisions, and it was really important to me because I know I didn't have a lot of movies like that showed my point of view in that way.
French, how did you end up playing the dad? Like, was it like a phone call and I've written the worst person who ever lived, and I think you'd be perfect for it?
No, Tracy's in a writers group with my wife. My wife is in the group. My wife is a wonderful writer. And so during COVID, you know, I was free, and they would have me read parts like so that they could hear things out loud. And so I think the first time I read Good Bob, and then the next time I came in and she said, you know, have a go at Bad Bob. And I was like, and so then once the movie got going, she said, you know, I want you to play Bob. And I said, oh, Good Bob, yeah. Clearly. And she said, no, Shitty Bob. And I was like, oh. It's like, great, you know. It was really great because, you know, like at that point, like a lot of the parts I was getting as if it was something like if it was a comedy, I was playing befuddled Vice Principal Johnson. Yeah. And if it was something like a drama, I was a pedophile. Yeah. Same sweater vest either way. But, yeah. But no, like these opportunities don't come that often, and you know, to get me from here to on a screen, she had to fight for me, you know, because people aren't going to see it on paper. It doesn't seem right, but she fought for me.
It's really intense. Like I loved hearing. The first audience I saw it with was not this big, you know, and to hear a filled up room react, particularly the scenes with you, that's intense stuff. Like that's like, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. It's, but like, you know, kind of Tracy kept reminding me, like, you know, everyone's the hero of their own story.
Right.
You know, so you can't just twist your mustache, you know. Yeah. It's like, it's got to be, this is a person who, by the time the credits roll, you'll all realize how terrible his daughter was to him. And, you know, and it's his movie, so you know, it has to be a person, you know. But
did the itemized list come from your story?
Well, so what I did, I was trying to think of something that would work in the structure of the story that I had. My dad, when he was always talking about the child support, because I lived with him for a while, and then he was like, you know, weekend visits kind of thing, and he kept those checks on his desk to remind me, you know. And then when he passed away, they were still on his desk, all the totals and everything that he had spent on his child support. And that was a little trickier since you were the primary, you know, custodian in this. So my friend had a similar dad, and he had done this to her, and I said, hey, and then we bonded because we have similar dads, so we've gone through a lot of the same things. So I said, do you mind if I use that? Luckily, she didn't mind. I don't know if he minds, but I...
And Tracy, I have one other question about the casting, because I was reading somewhere where you had mentioned that you weren't necessarily trying to find, quote unquote, the right people, but you were trying to find the right hearts. Yeah. And I was wondering if you could expound on what you meant by finding the right hearts to play these people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are like, oh, you want someone that looks like your Facebook Bob or looks like you. And I was like, no, that doesn't matter really. I was like you just said, I was casting hearts. And so I was looking, and I really looked, and Barbie Ferreira has some absolutely wonderful moments in Euphoria where she is vulnerable. I mean, she is just incredible. And then she has the wit and the childlike awe in Unpregnant. You know, if you ever see this movie Unpregnant on HBO Max. But I was like, that vulnerability and that wit and that childlike awe, you don't get that. You know, that's not, yeah. You get it. She was incredible, right? I mean, she was absolutely incredible. Yeah. But I could see her heart, and there was this one scene at the end of Euphoria season 1. I was really just watching for her, honestly. But you could see her struggling to say something that now many of us could easily say, but you could see she's trying to say this to this gentleman in the scene. And you could see this maze of how she's trying so hard to get there, you know? And I felt that was very similar to Lily, like just feeling that. And with John Leguizamo, I watched When They See Us, and he played Raymond Santana Sr. It was a struggling father, you know, father of one of the Central Park Five. And navigating so much, and I was like, that's a dad. And then I saw an interview with him, and he was sitting down like this, talking about his son being bullied. And he got choked up, you know, in the interview. And it's not a side of John Leguizamo that you usually see, you know. And he said, just a minute, and he's trying to recover. And then he went on, and I said, that's a dad. That's a dad. That's the heart, you know, of that character. And then French, I saw. And it's so funny that you have such a great heart, and you played, you know, because the thing is, we knew, like you said, we never used judgmental language, and I wanted to see this guy's inability, like a buried heart, like it's deep in there. When she says "I love you," and you're just like, what does that even mean? You know, like this childhood, this guy who doesn't know what that means. He doesn't have those tools. Like Lily doesn't have the tools because you didn't have the tools. You know, so French is just one of the most. I think it takes some of the most empathetic, incredible people in the world to play a lack of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, some people aren't cut out to be parents, yet they have to do the job anyway. Yeah. And we don't usually see that in a movie. Like,
Yeah, and we all got kind of dealt a similar dad.
Yeah.
So, like, the more you talk to people after they see the movies, the more you find out there are quite a few dads like that. Like, there seems to be like a larger volume than
I saw a lot of nodding heads.
Yeah, or a sister. Or
Yeah.
well, we ran a little long earlier, so I'm told that we don't have too much time left. What are you making next?
So we just got announced that I'm making a movie called Tony the Tattooed Man. It's a Mattel movie for Mattel Studios with a producer from Barbie, the movie Barbie. So I'm attached to write and direct it. We'll see what happens. I don't know how much I can say, but I can tell you that it wasn't like this job that I went out for. I fell in love with a discontinued toy, you know, and he was sort of judged for the way that he looked. And he was kind of banned, you know. And I thought, no, he's a sweetheart, you know. He's great. I love him, you know. Let's make a story about second chances. Let's learn not to judge a book by its cover, you know. And so I kind of lost my mind, you know, going into this story. And luckily, they've agreed to, you know, at least to you know, announce it. So I hope it will happen. And I also wrote a new original, and I just changed the title. It's about the last 7 months of my dad's life, kind of in the vein of this, but it's not a sequel or anything, but it's currently titled I Won't Be Here Long. And, you know, dramedy. If you like this, I think you'd really like that. So I'll start trying to raise the money for that, and we'll see what happens.
It's a beautiful film.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful film. And, you know, I was thinking as I was watching it, a profound loss a few months ago of Rob Reiner. And I thought of Rob Reiner watching this because it has that thing that like some of those movies like Stand By Me have where you're laughing, and suddenly, pow, you get them right in the heart.
Yeah. There's a Hebrew term, I'm not Jewish, but there's a Hebrew term called, I think it's called ayin tovar, if I get it right, but it's the good eye. And so it's the opposite of the evil eye. And that's what I want to put on my films. They're not toxically positive, but if you put the good eye, even on characters like, you know, your character, then you see them with compassion, you see them with their potential and the potential for change one day, whether they can get there today or not. You don't just write them off, you know, although sometimes you need very strong boundaries. but that's what I want to do. You know, I want to look at like everybody in all my stories with the good eye, you know.
You got it. All right. Well,
Take some questions from the audience.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood. I thought they were giving
No,
me the...
it's questions from the
hook.
audience.
Do what she says.
Chaz,
I just have to say one thing. It's questions for the audience, and then it's dinner. And I was told to announce that we will return here at 9:10. So that's a little later than on your schedule after dinner.
We-
I think. Wait, is that?
Yeah, yeah. We should put also a disclaimer on the questions. Questions end in a question mark, please.
I thought it was funny, the schedule says dinner and then get out.
Get out. That seemed abrupt.
Yeah,
All
still
right.
eating.
who's up? Who's up? Who's up first? Oh, there we go.
All right. I think she's got it first. Oh, all right. All right. Down house right, please.
Right there, yeah.
Okay.
Hello. Quick thing for French. I'll try not to hold that character against you in the future. I had problems with that with actors that play bad characters, and then down the road, I just can't watch them anymore. But try not to hold it against you. Question for Tracy. Location. I'm curious about the choice of location. I grew up literally 5 minutes from Greenville, Indiana, and I work in Louisville, Kentucky. So we're up here for the festival, and just wondering where you got the location choices from.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm from Texas, and I originally set it in Texas, on the Texas-Oklahoma border, and Facebook Bob was in Wichita, so I thought, oh, I'll just cheat it so they can drive back and forth, you know. But then the tax incentives were so great in Kentucky, and I was, raising the money with, everybody I could at the time, and obviously the Holdrens were amazing, so I thought, okay, I'll change it to the Kentucky-Indiana border, and I didn't just do it without going there. I went there, and I felt the heart of the area, and I was like, oh, for this story, this is the right thing to do, and it just happens to align with what we need. So
The people were so great, though. I was driving down the street, and there's this guy, and he's a stand at the side of the road, and it just says adult lemonade. So I rolled down my window, and I'm like, what is it? And he said, oh, it's what you think. It's just some lemonade with some vodka in it. And I said, are they gonna, do they allow you to do that? And he goes, no, they're gonna ask me to leave around 4. Kentucky is so great.
Oh my God. Okay. Who's
All
next?
right, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Audience left.
Hi there. This is actually the second time I've seen this movie, so I liked it a lot. I liked it the first time, I liked it the second time. One specific thing I did want to ask about is this movie's about a lot of stuff. It's about a lot of social anxieties and things too, but it's also clearly, it's never really addressed in the movie, but her father has a serious personality disorder that is not anything to do with her. It is not her fault, but she takes it on, she takes the blame for it and takes it on. And I guess I just want to know more about that, or what you had to think about that, because it's written extremely realistically. If you've ever had experiences with somebody with major personality disorders, and I don't think I've really seen that in a movie like this, where there's a portrayal of a character like this, and it's never like specifically labeled or addressed in the movie itself.
yeah, thank you for that. People say, how did you write the dad so well? I'm like, well, say write what you know. I know this is a fictionalized version of what I went through, but it is my emotional truth and a lot of my journey, and I put a lot of different parts of my life in it. And my biological father was diagnosed with a lot of different things, and I don't even know if they were all right. Sometimes I feel like people are just guessing, and I kind of just used the traits that I experienced, and I didn't want to put a label on it, because I feel like when you put a label on something, you other people. And that's the same reason I didn't say Lily had CPTSD, because everybody in here has probably had anxiety at one point. You can relate to that, you can empathize with that. But if you hear CPTSD, well, I'm not that bad, And if I labeled him with something, oh, well, that's different than my story. And it's the same reason I didn't make him an alcoholic, Because if I had made him an alcoholic, you'd be, oh, that's what that is, But a lot of people like this don't drink, But some people don't like to lose the control, so they don't drink, So yeah, I just felt it was more like I could lean in and more people be able to relate, but it was still so specific to the traits that I experienced.
I have one last question. House Right?
Thank you. A comment. I saw the film streaming. My wife saw it on an airplane, and it was wonderful to watch, as they said, a small film on a large screen. That's wonderful. But I do have a question about one of the actors that we didn't talk about, and that was Rachel Bay Jones. My wife and I saw her on Broadway in Dear Evan Hansen when she won a Tony, and she was just that wonderful character with feelings for other characters in this. Your comment.
Oh man, I have so much to say about her. You know, she is just wonderful. And you know, she had gotten recommended to me by the casting director, and I didn't realize, I'd seen her in Dear Evan Hansen. I'd seen her, you know, in different projects, and I loved her all the time. I just didn't, for some reason, I didn't realize that was all the same person. You know, I was like, oh yeah, she's incredible. And when I met with her, I said, I need to meet with her. And we made an offer, of course, but like, I need to meet with her before we go because I need her to understand. You know, she was very busy and everything, but I said, I need her to understand that this is not a small role. You know, because it's easy to read it on the page. Say, oh, you're only in these scenes. You're kind of this quirky scrapbooking person. You come back at the end and whatever. But the fundamental resolution of this entire movie hangs on Rachel Bay Jones, you know, delivering that in the funeral scene, hangs on her ability to negotiate or navigate grief, kindness, humor, you know, being surprised and unsettled by having to do it all right now, you know, and you could hear a pin drop most of the times in her scenes, you know, and that's especially that funeral scene. So, yeah, she's just an incredible human being, and I don't think there's anything in the world that she can't do.
Yeah, she also kind of gives like us permission for this story to work, because she's like, when he's saying, I met a girl on the internet, and she just was like, what? Like, I love Pippin so much, but it's so stupid, it makes no sense. And then you'll be like, oh, I love that song. I love that song from Pippin. And then like, and then they get back into it, and you're like, what is happening? I don't get it, you know? And she came out, and I'm like, I love it, I love Pippin.
I was, when I was watching her in Dear Evan Hansen, I was sobbing so much that I had to cover, it was in the theater, obviously, and I had to cover my mouth so I wouldn't disturb the people around me. And that's the only time that's ever happened, because it's like deep heaving sob, you know, and that's what she did to me again in this movie. So with Barbie for her, you know, so.
Well, thank you for turning out to this great movie. All right, see you at the next one.
Thank you. Please be kind to each other. Thank you so much. Thanks.